Hello and welcome to Show Up, Stand Out online visibility series for entrepreneurs. My guest today, actually, guess who's back? My guest today is Melanie Falvey, the creator of Videos That Sell System, a complete framework that will transform your business by using video. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, Julia. Thanks for having me again.
I am so delighted. Melanie was one of the first guests when I started this show, Show Up, Stand Out. And we were talking about the backdrops. You can go into the playlist. You can have a look at what we were talking about then. But I think that Melanie has taken the whole thing even further. And she's talking about 360 degrees video strategy that helps you build your business and build up a strong video mindset, so to speak, to ensure long-term success. Because a lot of people go online, they maybe do their lives, but what they struggle at and what they don't implement is some sort of strategy and having objectives and having, planning. So I am excited to have Melanie back, and we are going to talk about these things and talking about the most important thing. So you can go from 0 to 6 figures business, which in online world is quite doable. With the power of video. But the first and most important question, and I know I talk about it and a lot of experts talk about it, but Melanie, in your own words, why video is so important and why are you focusing on it so much?
Right, so I just have to start with this. I was petrified of video and now I've built my whole business around it. So if I'm doing that, it must mean that everybody has to do it because that was my biggest fear. Well, the thing is, video is here to stay. It's going nowhere. People are becoming more and more lazy, let's say. They don't like reading. Some of them do, but most people don't like reading. So you need to make it really easy for them to consume your content. And video is the easiest way of consuming content and of growing your business, therefore.
That's right. I actually agree with that. Maybe I wouldn't use the word lazy. I would use the word busy. And too
also,
much information.
Yes.
Because, I actually read this article. There was a research about how our learning is changing with the technology, because our kids starting to learn through audio-visual stimulation rather than learning to read. And because of that, there's massive differences that in relationships, say, between generations, how we communicate. And we are the generation that our children are growing up in that. And we were brought up in, reading and learning how to read, and how we were brought up by our parents or how we are bringing up our children, how they are going to bring up their children will be completely different, just because this whole thing is how we perceive information is changing. So we're living in very exciting times on any level as well. But I so agree with, there is no time sometimes to read. And another thing as well, when you're staring at the screen all day, you're actually losing ability to concentrate on each word. So your reading ability is also failing, so we're scanning a lot, but we're not actually reading. So,
right.
So we need something a little bit more that you can just go on the autopilot or, just put on and listen as an audio if you're not even looking at it.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? And I was there. I caught the very tail of Melanie kind of being petrified of video. And then I've been watching this transformation, and she really is blowing up internet on my newsfeed and Facebook anyway. And I love it because it's amazing to see the transformation, because I truly believe that, the fear is inside you. You're the only one who stops yourself. And it's amazing to see, you and anyone giving it permission, myself in many ways, and just doing it.
Absolutely. It's all in here. And it's funny because, and I'm glad you say that you see a transformation, because I definitely see it and feel it. And it's funny because sometimes my clients say, why don't you just pull down all those first videos you made because they're really terrible? And I'm like, no, because I want people to see the progress and I want them to see the transformation. And I always like to say, I'm my best testimonial. I've been my best client. I've gone through all the system, and if it works for me, it works. Because it's very funny, when I was helping clients go through the system, I just thought they were having so much success because they were they didn't have such a big fear. So they were okay on video. So of course, if you give them the right backdrop, the right strategy, and all the rest, they're going to really grow their business. But I thought that my case, my personal situation was so bad, my fear was so huge, it would never work as well with them as with them. And then I just went through the system and hello, it does work.
And it works. And sometimes you go through this, guys. So this is now a very personal sharing. You might have the right way, and you might have a fear that stops you from literally walking your talk, right? But you can implement, but your client, say, who doesn't have that fear, will take exactly what you're saying to them to do and blow up. It happened to me too before, and I was saying to myself, why am I not getting this kind of success? But it was something, it comes down to permission. But then another thing that Melanie just mentioned was feeling, how you feel when this is happening, this transformation. It's extremely empowering. It's extremely.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Absolutely. It translates in all other areas of your life. I feel like I'm a different person. And I sometimes think people are going to think I'm just making it up. But it's true, because once you overcome such a huge fear, you just feel like you can do anything.
That's
yes,
testifying. I know that absolutely. And you know what, guys, that actually can be applied to anything. You have problems selling, start selling. Selling on each video, start selling. Believe me, after 8 weeks, you wouldn't have a problem inviting people to buy your products or services or anything, because you've just trained yourself. It's like with anything, isn't it? It's like with anything. I'm just so delighted. Absolutely. Because you are glowing, Melanie. You're glowing. And I love it. I love seeing it. It's like, that's why I have a butterfly on behind me. By the way, Melanie is the person that is not to blame, but to thank very, very for the way my videos look, because it was Melanie who I went to give me some advice about the backdrops. And this is something that I want to also bring on this show, even though we have a whole show and you can go into the archives, into a playlist, and you can find that show as well. But it is so important. And another thing that people don't realize, how much it adds to your broadcast. What kind of short advice could you give people when it comes to the backdrop? So what are the mistakes that you see? Just something to give some sort of direction.
Okay, great. I'll just start with this. 90% of the information that gets to the brain is visual. So that's how important getting your backdrop right is. Now, the number one mistake I see people making is they're not even aware that they have a backdrop, and you always have something behind you. And number two is they think that just by making something look pretty, it's enough. And that's not enough. Something that looks nice is okay in your home. But when you want to sell, when you need to share your message and really get the sales, you need to use your backdrop as your About Me page, as your storefront. That's what it is. You need to, and it's not even about this interior design and making something pretty. It's about commercial design techniques and seller psychology. It comes down to that. And it has to be unique to every single person, because you have your own brand, your own products or services to sell. And if you're not using the right backdrop for you, you're not doing anything. You're really actually harming your brand. So that's why the next mistake would be using a generic brand, generic screen or generic fabric screen. That's really harming your brand, because you might be using the same thing as somebody else with a different brand, a different service, a different product, and you're just diluting your brand and really harming it.
I just had this experience yesterday where I was, I'm not going to drop any names. I love everyone that is included in this story, but there's 3 quite big influencers, and all of them have the same background that they're using. And I love them. And they're 2 of them are authors. I own their books. I love them. But when I saw the 3rd one yesterday with the same background, there's just something just went, and that, can be very serious in some people. And some people, it could be such a big put off that then you stop, it's kind of like a shattered glass, and you stop actually being in this energy that of the person just because there was something that disappointed you, you know. It's you know, it's like when you're infatuated with someone and then you started seeing all this, you know, things that you're like, oh, for God's sakes. And then you don't ever go back to that amazing stage that you were at the beginning when you're so excited, you know. So that's why it's so important. I also want to mention the next stage after that, and maybe we didn't speak about this last time, but it's the actual video character.
Oh, yes. That's fundamental. I think one of the biggest transformations I see in my clients, and I've seen in myself, is crafting a really powerful and magnetic video character. And this is something nobody does, because I always read, like, you read posts and it says, oh, just be yourself and people would love you, and you will grow your audience just by being yourself. No. I mean, what does that mean anyways? Because I can be a million different people in one day. I can have 20 different personalities. I can be scared, I can be tired, I can be grumpy, I can be happy. You need to bring your best you, because it's just out of respect to your viewers. You need to offer your best you every time you're on video. And sometimes, let's face it, you don't feel like doing a video because you're tired, because you have other things to do, whatever it is. If you're not ready, if you don't have a really, really strong video character, those excuses are going to serve you not to do the video. However, if you have a strong video character and a strong video strategy, even if you don't feel like doing the video, you will do it, because you will have tools, very simple and enjoyable psychological hacks that you can use 5 minutes before a video, and you're ready. And that's why everybody says to me, oh, you're always so happy. And you're like, the other day, there was a very funny comment on one of the videos. It was like, Melanie is the manifestation of positivity. I was like, yeah, well, I am a happy person, but I mean, I also struggle, you know, life is what it is. And I'm not always ha. But when you have the right tools in place, you can show up like this. And that's what your viewers deserve. So.
It's so true. And I have to say, even though I have said in the past, be you, but I agree with let's just expand on this, be yourself, but it has to be the best version of you, you know. And for me, it's very important in terms of even how you present yourself. Like I wouldn't go to a supermarket even wearing a tracksuit, because a tracksuit is for the gym. And I sometimes go to a coffee shop and people say, you look amazing. And I'm like, well, are you making an effort or something? And I'm saying, what are you saying? Like, I just went out, there's people there. I want to look the best, not for them, not because I'm looking for a validation or anything. It's for me, because I actually don't care what they think about me. You know, if I don't care. But I care how I look at myself and what I see and how I feel, you know, and it makes me feel like, you know, it makes me feel $1 million. And that's a great feeling to have. That's the feeling that attracts abundance. That's the feeling that attracts positivity in your life. Exactly. You know, it's so true. And yes, it is sometimes hard to do the video. And, you know, when you're struggling, when somebody is struggling and holding themselves back, you can see that on the videos as well. So it is important to, but I think that the idea, the whole thing is that you allow yourself to be yourself, the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. You allow yourself to be your best self, yes. And you make an effort to do that. So in the end, it's a win-win situation, because you're trying to be your best self for yourself, because you're worth it, and then for your viewers also, because they deserve to get the best from you.
That's so true. That's so true. Is there anywhere that you can kind of slack? Like, I know I sometimes wear a hoodie when I do videos in my group, because they're like my tribe.
Oh, yeah. Like,
I don't like doing that. I don't like, yeah. I'm just too lazy to change, and it could be too cold. So that's the reasons, guys. There's reasons.
Juliet, you look even glamorous in a hoodie. Come on.
Well, it's true, but you know, let's give a little bit of, like, let's give the tips. Like, what do you do? And you don't have to, if you're teaching this in your course or in your system, don't reveal it all. But what do you, like a couple or one even simple thing, what do you do a little bit before the live video to make a better version of yourself? And then I'll share mine.
Okay, I use many techniques, and it really depends on the day. And then I share a lot with my clients, because they can choose what works for them. I don't believe in one size fits all. So my favorites are, because before a video I usually wear makeup, I use that time to really get into the mood and to relax. To me, just smelling the makeup and like enjoying the textures and all that really makes me get into a relaxed mood. And then sometimes if I'm tired, I'll do one or two things. I'll either do my video standing up, because the energy is completely different when you're sitting and when you're standing. And if you're tired, you can just stand up and you will be immediately recharged. And another thing I love doing is, obviously, I have a playlist for before doing a video, and it's just like really energetic and vibrant. And that just gets you into the right mood and right energy. But you can use lots of things. I mean, the alter ego effect is really fascinating, and you can totally use it before videos, and it can really make you feel more confident. It can even be just a chair where you sit to do your videos. You can give it power, and you can do like a little exercise before, a little ritual, and you will really feel different before a video. Or another thing you can do, and this is something everybody loves, you can have a piece of chocolate, just a little piece. Dark chocolate releases endorphins, and that just gets you into a happy state. And that's the state you need to do videos. So.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to tell you, I haven't tried chocolate. And you know why I didn't try chocolate? Because I read somewhere that it can affect your, well, I'm coming from a singing background, that it can affect your singing voice. But it's not necessarily the same with the talking voice, because you're talking from a different space. So yes, that's why I didn't try that. And also, I don't think my hips will appreciate those.
That's why I said a little bit, and dark chocolate. So that doesn't have any sugar.
Not true. Well, I have to agree about the makeup, although you're obviously like, if it's important for you guys, you need to know how do you interact with the world. And if you are, feely touchy kind of person and smells and everything, you need to indulge in this a little bit more. For me, the smells don't really work for me, because it's just, I don't have a very acute sense of smell. But I love the putting makeup, and you have to, for the live video, you need to have a good lighting. That's one of the biggest secrets, is having good lighting in your face. So your face is brighter, you will look better, you will love how you look more, right? And then when you're putting that makeup, you can put up extra makeup. In fact, I started wearing much more makeup since I actually don't even think I'm wearing enough today, but I started doing things like I have never done before: contouring, highlighter on my cheeks, and things like that. And definitely looking at very matte foundation, but I do like a lot of sparkle on my eyeshadows. My eyeshadows underneath my eyes, I'm using so much more. I have for 40 years never even used that. But you know what happened? It's like I did it for the light, because I know on stage when there's a lot of light, it will make you look washed out. But it transcends into my everyday life, and I really do feel like a power woman when I go out somewhere. I like going out for coffee after I do a live video. So I'm looking forward to I'm getting dressed. I'm going to do the live video, and then I'm going to go with my husband and do coffee or something, and I'm going to feel very good about it. It's all about how you feel about yourself, isn't it? It's
absolutely
the secret about growing this business. Yeah, you can actually do it all just so you feel very good about yourself.
It's for that, exactly. I'm the same. When I wasn't doing videos, I wasn't wearing makeup if I wasn't meeting any clients or doing anything like that. And now for live video, because you need to wear that extra bit of makeup. Like, for example, I wear very bright lipsticks on video, but I never wear them outside my videos. And it's funny, because you learn what works, what doesn't. And it's true that at the beginning I wouldn't wear makeup, or I would just wear a little bit, just what I would wear on the street, and I looked like a ghost.
I've turned into like red lipstick I have never worn before. I actually did it on live and took a few photographs, and then somebody who I really look up to said, "That was the best look you had." I was like, go figure. I would never wear red lipstick. I have about 3 now. So, and I wear them out as well, because this is empowering.
But it doesn't work the same way. Haven't you noticed? Like, I found that the same colors look completely different on video and in real life. And some colors that I would never wear in real life, I wear on video all the time. So I have like a video makeup kit, and then my everyday makeup kit.
You know what? Yes, and before I wrap up, that's actually brings me up to a very good tip that I have for myself. Guys, do a lot of videos. If you're confused in the beginning, don't overthink what you're wearing. At the beginning, you need to start doing it. Doing it is much more important. But as you are doing it more and more and more, obviously, you need to look at your background, at how you present yourself. But then look back at those videos and then see what you're wearing, what colors you love yourself better, what colors you feel like you look a little bit washed out. Same with lipstick, same with makeup. We're kind of like just assuming that our audience are all women. So guys, you just have to just bear with us on this one. But it's very important, you know, and you will see then later on, and you will know that this is your video, that's the best look for your video, because it will go not just with, you know, how you feel on that day, but you are sitting in, say, I always sit in the same room. I have to consider how my look, it might look beautiful somewhere else, but how is it going to look here? And how is it and another thing as well you need to consider, if you're doing video for your website pages, you also need to think about how's it going to look within those colors, right? And that brings to what Melanie was talking about earlier, about branding, your own branding. And that's why we did my backdrop. And even though I'm like my brand is never the same every 4 months. I am very, you know, changeable person, and I've embraced it because this is what I am. But still, it's always a consideration. How is it going to look? Because you can lose sales simply because your video looks wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Visual information is vital. And the thing is, when you're on video, there's two types of visual information. So you have the good, valuable information that is adding value, and then you have noise. And what you don't want is noise. And when something is clashing, it's not really doing anything for your message or whatever it is, then it clashes and it distracts your viewers. And you don't want that. You need everything to fit in perfectly. And your clothing, your accessories, everything is part of your video. Absolutely.
It's so interesting because you have quite a busy background, and yet everything sort of is, you know, it just fits, right? But the worst thing is that when somebody's doing a video and at the background you see like a ironing board just sticking out a little bit, or, you know, I was following somebody for a very long time, then they started doing video, it was a blogger, then they started doing a video, and all of a sudden on this video that I'm watching, there is a pair of runners at the background just lying on the floor, and that's it. That was the last video I watched this person. That was it for me. And I don't even think that it's not that I'm judgmental, but it's just I just kind of lost interest, and that's what happened.
Yes.
Guys, before I let Melanie go, because I know Melanie has she's a very busy woman. She has a lot of lives scheduled just after this show. So where can people follow you, or what did you bring today? Just talk to me about this.
Okay, so my new program has just launched, Videos That Sell System, and it is, as you were saying, Julia, the complete framework you need to grow your business from 0 to 6 figures using video. We look at every single element you need to have in place. We learn how to build a strong video muscle, a really magnetic video character. We map out a complete video strategy, obviously get your backdrops looking great, and it's the only thing you need to get your videos out there looking professional and make sales.
Perfect. That's fantastic, guys. The link to the system or to more information is in the description to this video. Melanie, thank you so much for being my lovely guest. I'm sure we're going to do it again. And guys, thank you so much for watching. This was Show Up, Stand Out with Melanie Falvey and Julia Stapleton. And I will see you next time. Thanks and bye.
Thanks.